75 hard is marketed as mental toughness, but for women over 30 with careers and with kids, these rules aren't toughness, they're a recipe for burnout. I'm Alexandria, 36-year-old mom and licensed counselor who's lost over 40 pounds naturally. And while I absolutely believe in mental toughness, there's absolutely a smarter way to do it than 75 hard without wrecking your hormones and also your schedule. So today, I am rewriting the 5 rules of 75 hard. So we're going to make them sustainable and actually effective for women over 30. Starting with our most dangerous rule, which is the workouts. The original rule says 2 45-minute workouts per day. One must be outside and there are no excuses. And if you are 22, then have at it, sister. But let's play this out from like a 30-something-year-old life, okay? So you work till 5 p.m. Then you go home and you make dinner. Maybe you put your kid to bed and now it's 8:30. It's raining and you still have to go for a walk in the dark or you fail and have to start over. That's not discipline. That's just bad scheduling and also potentially dangerous. When you force your schedule, you sacrifice the sleep. And when you sacrifice sleep, you increase your risk for injury and for stress. So you aren't actually getting tougher, you're just getting more broken. So the rewrite for this is we're going to move it to 45 minutes of intentional movement once per day. This 45 minutes of movement is still tricky because it's intentional, and especially if it's something you're not already doing. But this is the standard of grace. If you have energy, super, love it, lift heavy. If your kid was up all night, 45 minutes might look like a gentle walk or some yoga. The discipline is keeping the appointment with yourself, not the intensity of the workout. So the same rules apply, but it's different intensity, so you still win. And here's the therapist and biology angle for why the 2 workout rule backfires, especially for women over 30. It comes down to the stress hormone, mainly cortisol. And cortisol is not inherently bad, but you need to understand that it works differently as you age. When you're in your 20s, your body bounces back from stress kind of like a rubber band. But in your 30s and 40s, especially if you've had a kid or you're juggling a demanding job, then your stress system or your HPA axis is already working overtime. So you now add 2 intense workouts on top of poor sleep and work stress and the mental load of running a household. Your body doesn't read that as self-improvement, my friend. It reads that as famine or war. Don't we love that? And when your body thinks you're in crisis, it doesn't drop fat easily. In fact, it makes it harder to drop fat and actually hangs on to the visceral belly fat for survival purposes. So you might be doing everything right in 75 hard, but your body is not going to drop any visceral fat because it's trying to survive your discipline. My version works because you're working with your hormones and not against them. One intentional movement session that respects your energy levels still builds mental toughness. You still have to make that commitment, but it doesn't ask your nervous system to completely live in panic mode. Now, rule 2 is around nutrition, and this one says strict diet, no cheat meals, and no alcohol. Your diet must be completely perfect. And if you slip up, again, we start over. Can you tell that I really hate that part? We can keep the no alcohol part because honestly, at our age, alcohol kind of destroys your sleep anyway, and it has a tendency to wreck your recovery. So for 75 days, let's see who we are without our nightly wine. But the no cheat meals rule, that part, it has to go. Because when we talk about it from a psychology standpoint, it's something called the forbidden fruit effect. The forbidden fruit effect is a documented phenomenon that where you set a 0 tolerance rule the minute you eat one forbidden cookie, your brain says, well, I blew it, and then you binge eat the whole box. So strict rules actually cause a binge. They don't change anything. Let me give you a simple example of this right now. Right now, I do not want you to think about a pink elephant. Don't picture it. Don't imagine it. None of it. Let me guess. The first thing that popped into your head was, in fact, a pink elephant. I know it did in mine. In psychology, we call this the ironic process theory or the white bear effect. The more you try to suppress a thought, the louder it gets. And food works the same way. There's some research of kids who were strictly restricted, say that time fast, from certain candy, and it actually made them become more obsessive. They had bigger reactions when they finally saw it than the kid who just had a normal level of access to it. The restriction creates an obsession. And so when you tell yourself, no cookies for 75 days, no cookies, your brain doesn't quietly forget the cookies. It just starts scanning for them, thinking about them, craving them. And that's why so many women fail and fall off of 75 hard. It's not that you're weak, it's because you set up a rule that your brain is literally wired to rebel against. So the rewrite for this one is the 80-20 nutrition rule. And that means that roughly 80% of your food It fuels your body. It's protein, it's produce, it's whole foods. And then about 20% is just for that enjoyment. And this teaches you something 75 Hard doesn't, which is self-regulation. It's way easier to eat 0 cookies and keep them completely out of the house than 2 and stop. 0 is willpower. Stopping at 2 is actually a skill. And we're attempting to build a skill here. We're not trying to white knuckle for 75 days. If you're a woman in your 30s and 40s and you're totally done with extreme fitness and you want a plan that actually is sustainable and sane, make sure you subscribe because we're building a different kind of fitness space around here. So before we hit the last 3 rules, I want to explain why the original version fails for so many women. 75 Hard is built on a punishment model. It assumes that you're lazy and that you need to be whipped into shape. But looking at my clients and also the friends in my life who are mostly women in their 30s, they aren't lazy. They're exhausted, just like me. This model was designed by men for men, largely based on conquer mentality. And so it doesn't account for the mental load women often carry, like kids, careers, aging parents, and the invisible planning. And I'm not trying to crap on men here. Men carry an invisible load too. But what I am saying is that it doesn't account for that. And so when you add extreme restriction to an already high stress life, your nervous system feels threatened. And so, of course, it fights back. And that's why you quit on day 12, not because you're weak, but because your body is just trying to protect you. That's what it does. We are hardwired for survival, not to thrive. My fixed version uses something called behavioral momentum and habit stacking. Think of it as a heavy train. Getting it moving from a dead stop takes a ton of energy, or if you've ever done a dead stop push-up, right? But once you're rolling, it takes way less to keep it going. And 75 Hard tries to get your train moving basically by strapping rockets to it. So you might move fast for a bit, but you also have a much higher chance of derailing. What I want for you is to lower the friction and have more wins. When you get small, consistent wins, your brain releases dopamine. You start to see yourself as, I'm someone who shows up, not I'm someone who suffers until I burn out. This identity shift is what actually keeps you going after day 75. So back to the rules. Rule 3 is a gallon of water a day. And unless you're a linebacker in August heat, then a gallon is likely too much. You're just going to flush out your electrolytes and probably spend your whole workday in the potty, which if you don't want to do your work that day, then by all means. But the rewrite is really about drinking more water, but not so much you pee all day. So drink about half your water weight in ounces. If you weigh 160 pounds, then you aim for 80 ounces. It's enough to hydrate you without making you sick and staying in the potty. Rule 4 is about reading books and reading 10 pages of a nonfiction book every single day. But the original write says no audiobooks from what I can see and that they don't count. But in the rewrite, this habit will actually include audiobooks because a lot of us are folding laundry or driving the kids or commuting. And so if you listen to 15 minutes of a good audiobook while you're doing things, that counts because we care about the information, not just the format. I know my readers in the group are going to probably come for me, but it is what it is. And then rule 5 is take progress pictures every single day. And I do not have a problem with a progress photo. I love a good progress photo. I think especially helpful if you're in a body recomp because that can be really useful to show you things. But every day feels obsessive and you're not going to see something every single day. So the rewrite is weekly photos, okay? Pick one day, say Friday morning. I don't care. Same lighting and take the photo and then put it away. But look at the trend over the month or months, not days, because truthfully, you're not going to be able to see things from day to day, but you might be able to see things from month to month. And also pay attention to the other things like your energy levels and all those sort of things, not just what it says on the scale or in your measurements. So here is our 75 sane checklist, for lack of a better word. So we're going to do one 45-minute intentional movement session every single day that matches your energy levels. We're keeping the no alcohol, but we're going to use the 80-20 nutrition rule. We're going to drink half our body weight in water. We're going to read 10 pages of a book or 15 minutes of an audiobook, and we're going to take weekly, not daily photos. This isn't about proving how much you can suffer. It's about building a life you don't need to escape from. If this version makes more sense for your actual life, tap the like button so that more women can find it. And don't forget to hit subscribe. Now let's go crush it without crushing ourselves.